One intriguing possibility comes from research conducted by Herbert Krugman in 1969. Krugman, who would go on to become manager of public opinion research at General Electric in the 1970s, was interested to discover what happens physiologically in the brain of a person watching TV. He taped a single electrode to the back of his test subject's head and ran the wire to a Grass Model 7 polygraph, which in turn interfaced with a Honeywell 7600 computer and a CAT 400B computer. He turned on the TV and began monitoring the brain waves of his subject. He found through repeated testing that within about 30 seconds, the brain waves switched from predominantly beta waves, indicating alert and conscious attention, to predominantly alpha waves, indicating an unfocused receptive lack of attention. The state of aimless fantasy and daydreaming below the threshold of consciousness. Krugman's initial findings were confirmed by more extensive and accurate testing. TV rapidly induces an alpha state consciousness in its viewers, putting them in a daydream state that leaves them less actively focused on their activities and more receptive to suggestion. This dream state combines with the nature of the medium itself to create a perfect tool for disengaging the viewer intellectually, removing them from active participation in their environment, and substituting real experience with the simulacrum of experience. In a word, TV hypnotizes its viewers.
To begin with, television is essentially non-linguistic. It presents information mostly in visual images. Although human speech is heard on television and sometimes assumes importance, people mostly watch television. And what they watch are rapidly changing visual images, as many as 1,200 different shots every hour. The average length of a shot on network television is 3.5 seconds. The average in a commercial is 2.5 seconds. Now, this requires very little analytic decoding. In America, television watching is almost wholly a matter of what we would call pattern recognition. What I'm saying here is that the symbolic form of television, its form, does not require any special instruction or learning. In America, television viewing begins at about the age of 18 months, and by 36 months, children begin to understand and respond to television's imagery. They have favorite characters, sing jingles they hear, and ask for products they see advertised. There's no need for any preparation or prerequisite training for watching television. It needs no analog to the McGuffey reader. Watching television requires no skills and develops no skills, and that is why there is no such thing as remedial television watching.
As we have seen, it was only a matter of years from the advent of commercial radio as a medium of communication until monopolistic financial interests were funding studies to determine how best to use it to mold the public consciousness. And, it seems, the television, with its brainwave-altering, hypnosis-inducing cognitive impairment abilities, was designed from the very get-go as a weapon of control deployed against the viewing public. But if these media are weapons, if they are being used to direct and shape the public's attention and ultimately their thoughts, it begs some questions. Who is wielding these weapons? And for what purpose? This is no secret conspiracy. The answer is not difficult to find. Time Warner and Disney and Comcast NBC Universal and News Corp and Sony and Universal Music Group and the handful of other companies that have consolidated control over the mediaopoly of the electronic media are the ones wielding the media weapon. Their boards of directors are public information. Their major shareholders are well known. A tight-knit network of wealthy and powerful people control what is broadcast by the corporate media and, by extension, wield the media weapon to shape society in their interest. In part 1 of this series, we noted how technological advancements in the printing press and the development of new business models for the publishing industry had taken Gutenberg's revolutionary technology out of the hands of the public and put it into the hands of the few rich industrialists with the capital to afford their own newspaper or book publisher. The Gutenberg conspiracy had led, seemingly inevitably, to the Morgan conspiracy. But that process didn't end with the electrification of the media. It accelerated. By the end of the 20th century, a handful of media companies controlled the vast majority of what Americans read, saw, and heard. That this situation was used to control what the public thought about important topics is, by now, obvious to all.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish things are true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.